Well, we are backstage in one of my favorite venues in Boston, hands down the best catering of any place, which is always a plus. Nice. But I'm at the Sinclair. I am joined by Margaret Glaspy on her tour supporting her new album, Emotions and Math. Margaret, how's the day been going?
It's been going really well, keeping busy.
Good, good. So welcome to Boston. I know that you went to Berkeley for a semester. Tell me a little bit about that experience and what you love to do when you're back in the city.
I was in Boston. I lived here for about 3 years. I was in Berkeley shortly, and it's always just kind of a trip down memory lane to be back here. And some of my favorite things, the bookstores in Boston, you kind of can't beat. And so at the Coop here in the Harvard Square, I like to go to that spot. Trident Bookstore, I always like to go to whenever I'm in Back Bay area. I used to play at Club Passim all the time, so I go swing by and say hi to friends here, and I love playing at the Sinclair. So we're glad to be here. It's our first headlining show at the Sinclair, so we're stoked.
Oh, nice, nice. Who did you support last time?
Last time I played solos opening for Spirit Family Reunion.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
And I was just at Trident today.
Cool.
And it's not only a bookstore, but the cafe is amazing, too.
I know. They have really good smoothies.
Oh, and the omelet. I went with the omelet today.
Nice.
I wish I went with the smoothie now.
Nice.
But you are touring without a tour manager, which is like one of the biggest DIY things, which I love. How has that been? What has been like the toughest part of trying to finagle that?
We're going to be having a tour manager pretty soon here, but the last year has been, just either me by myself or just me and the band, the two guys with me. And I think in some ways I kind of love it. I feel like I'm kind of built for it, and just it feels like being an athlete or something on tour. You're just kind of taking care of business at all times. It's also really super exhausting. So I'm pretty tired this year, but it's been a blast and learning so much, and just about to kind of kick off the year next year with some more help. So that'll be a little more relaxing for sure.
Well, good. And as fun as it is to go out and tour, not all shows are created equal. Do you have like a tour horror story of like a show that you would just rather forget?
Oh God. They happen sometimes. I feel like we've been lucky to not have had total nightmares happen. I mean, sometimes when you're opening for bands, things can happen where it's just, no one really cares and no one's tuned into it. But for the most part, it's been really pretty great. People have been really attentive and really sweet. Sometimes you're on the road and you've been in the car for 9 hours and you start to kind of lose your mind, for sure. That happens. You just kind of, you're living in an alternate universe in a certain way. So weird stuff happens all the time, but thank God it's never really totally gone off the rails.
Well, that's good. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
So other than music, what are some of your other interests that you like to do when you have a little bit of free time? Although I can imagine your free time is limited these days.
My free time is limited, but I have a lot of other interests. I'm a big reader. I read quite a bit, and so I belong to a private library in New York City and spend a lot of my time there when I'm home, when I have the time to. I'm a kind of a guitar nerd, so I like to go down to the guitar shop and hang with my friends there. I go to TR Crandall all the time in New York City, and then I also like to make things a lot. I like to sew a lot and kind of work with wood and build weird stuff. And then I'm working on a zine right now. I'm kind of getting that started at the moment, which I'm really excited about, and hopefully that'll come out in the beginning of next year. The list goes on and on. I'm pretty proactive.
That's really cool. Another artist that was talking about starting a zine was Lucy Dacus.
Oh, cool.
I talked to her a couple weeks ago. I like that. I love the idea of because I think one of the questions that at least I always ask is what are you listening to? What are you guys?
Yeah.
I feel like that's always something people want to know. What music are artists listening to? So it's kind of nice to have a zine or something.
Totally.
Like that.
I'm excited. I'm kind of excited to create a new branch of the whole scene.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to Emotions and Math, your debut record on ATO Records, what are you most proud of? What aspect of it do you just really go, I really nailed that?
I'm kind of most proud of that it exists, to be honest with you. That I'm pretty just wowed by and in awe of. So that's pretty stellar that it is even out there. I'm proud of producing it. I mean, that was a kind of a big trust fall into that, and just kind of trusting myself and the people that I was working with that we got this, Really proud of that. And Yeah, I mean, it really is just like, it's kind of huge for me just because I've been singing and songwriting for a very long time, but I always held off on making my first record because I didn't really feel like I was totally ready. And once it all happened, I felt like it was very, very ready. And I feel proud, really, just to bring it back to the first comment, I feel proud that it's just out there, period.
And that's a huge victory in and of itself.
Yeah.
I heard that you recorded the album 3 times. How did that, or sort of why did you do that, and how did the record evolve each time?
Yeah, so I mean, I did it just because I'm a songwriter and I was just working on songs. So I made some demos, and those were all on an iPad in my room. Mm-hmm. Then after that, I decided I really wanted to make the record. I felt like I had all the songs that needed to be there, all 12 songs, and then I started to record the record in my house on kind of more proper recording equipment. Started to learn to kind of engineer a little more. And then from there, right when I was kind of finishing that version of the record, ATO called and asked me to make a record. So I went back in the studio. I went into the studio for the first time, really, with that music, and made the record.
Sweet. And then so I read sort of one of the best summations of it is the title, Emotions and Math specifically, something emotive that's super process driven. It would be helpful if I could speak today. And being analytical about it all. How do you balance sort of the practical and emotional when making music?
Yeah, I feel like it's been maybe in terms of the press. I feel like it's been leaning in toward this thing of being super sterile and analytical about it, and it hasn't. It's not really like that. But I suppose a lot of time maybe it errs on the side of maybe people assuming that songwriting is just purely emotive and is just you just kind of think up the songs magically, but just because you're sad or you're happy one day. But for me, ideas are always coming in, and really the thing that actually makes the songs so is just sitting down and really working with the songs. And there is a lot of process to it, and kind of it's almost like putting a puzzle together or something. And that kind of ties into the name of the record, Emotions and Math. It feels like working with a lot of emotive pieces in kind of a slightly analytical way, I suppose.
Nice. And then so one of my favorite questions to ask is if you could steal a song from any artist, any generation in the world, only knows it as your song, what song do you think you'd choose?
I think I would probably choose, God, there's so many, but there's 2 probably that I would choose. One of them is All I Want by Joni Mitchell, and the other is probably Everything Means Nothing to Me by Elliott Smith.
Oh, Elliott Smith.
Yeah.
Such a classic. He's the best.
Yeah, he's totally the best.
So you do a ton of these interviews, which I, as a journalist, am always grateful for.
Thank you.
I'm sure they must get boring, or, there's a misquote that just always keeps coming up that people ask you about. So what do you wish that you got asked more often, or what do you wish that you could clear up about the record?
Gosh. I don't really wish that I got asked more often anything. I don't think. I feel like, I'm pretty proud of producing the record, so sometimes, in terms of just production, that's a thing of just maybe being noted more for doing. That's something maybe I crave. But really, people have been pretty attentive to that. One thing maybe to clear up about the record, well, everyone talks about me playing the trombone all the time. And that happened a really long time ago. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like people think that it's a part of my makeup where I really was a trombone player and it's a part of this record, and it's not. We can clear the air and say that there's no trombone on this record. I played trombone when I was in the 4th grade. And I played it into middle school, but it was a band instrument in school band, and while it was very influential in me playing music, that is certainly an instrument of my past. And while I totally adore trombones and trombonists, it's not really something that is a part of the aesthetic on the record anymore.
I was going to say, that was not the part of the record that I really noticed. It was more the guitar. I mean, that was stunning.
There's no trombone on the record. That's what I wanted to clear the air with.
Well, and there's such a hunger for like brass and rock music today. Like,
yeah,
I feel like
I suppose that's true.
There's such a niche for it now. But do you think that you would want to continue producing your own work down the line?
Yeah, I'll produce this next record. I'm pretty positive of that. And probably, I don't know whether that's, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't tell the future. I don't even know if I'll be, playing music tomorrow. But I think that I'll probably produce my records for a little while now.
Oh, good. And any hints or some, clues you can give us about the next record?
Not really. I'm going to play a couple of songs tonight that might end up on the next record, a couple new songs, which I'm very excited about. So you might get some hints from the show later on. But yeah, not. I'm keeping the lid on that one.
As you should. It's my journalist instinct. I have to ask it. I get fined back at the office if I don't. So, as you alluded to, you have 520 people on a Sunday night that came out to listen to you play music. So
we're hoping so.
Oh, I trust me. I think you'll get it. I don't want to keep you from them. So this will be my last question. What are you listening to? Who has your ear right now? I'm
listening to Bjork right now. I've been listening to her record Vespertine, which is incredible. I'm listening to Tchaikovsky right now.
Oh, cool.
We're currently listening to Palehound Soundcheck in the background.
Isn't she amazing?
Yeah, she's awesome. There's Slow Dancer, who's a singer and songwriter from Australia that I'm kind of into right now. There's a band, kind of a punk rock band out of New York that's, I think, just kind of starting out called Knots, N-O-T-S, that I think is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, those are Jim Hall. I'm always listening to Jim Hall in the background. Whenever we're driving, that always gets played at least once. Amazing jazz guitarist. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, if you are not listening to Emotions and Math by our guest today, Margaret Glaspy, you definitely should be if you read a top 25 records of 2016 list and Emotions and Math is not on it, then there is something incredibly flawed with the list. And I cannot thank you enough for making the time for us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Jeff.